Hello everyone, welcome back to the series where I analyze studies that have placed in competitions. Last time we looked at a 7-piece endgame, which seemed cheap to a few because there is a known number of 7-piece chess positions, shown on the screen. This study by Yuri Baslov, which placed above the previous one, has 9 however, plus white is also down a queen for a rook. White can take out the horse on f6 but black has king d7. Once the e-pawn is captured, the game will be a draw. This may satisfy some players, but it will not accomplish the goal of winning for white. Instead, there is a stronger move, which is to sacrifice our horse with knight to e4. If black captures the knight, the e-pawn will promote to force a queen trade. With an exchange up and the d-pawn still on the board, this is an easy win. Black defends with knight to e8, seemingly securing the promotion square as d6 allows the queen to check. But little do anyone know, Baslov has set up the rook on c6 for a reason. Just like how white declined the free knight to start, white can sacrifice the knight on a very enemy-controlled square, d6. Since the c-pawn is pinned, black's knight must capture, and now white's rook brilliantly recaptures. All of this is to get rid of black's knight that is guarding e8, because if c takes d6 now, white can promote with check as always, followed by trading queens and winning d6. But black isn't going down without a fight, which is why there is the defense king to b7. Try to guess what white is going to play next. Rook to d8, right? Well, at least you found a decent move, but black's queen can escape and start checking. White is a rook up, but due to both heavy pieces on the 8th rank, the king cannot escape the checks on the 5th or 6th ranks, the latter due to queen h4. The same can be said if the king tries to go to the 7th rank, as black's queen can always attack the d8 rook while checking, preventing any help by white's pieces even though the king is nearest he could be. This rare situation limits white to only one possible way to make progress, moving the king to d7. This allows the queen to block on e6, but black's queen continues checking on h7. After king e8 queen h8 king e7, it seems as if the checks will end soon, but after queen to g7, queen f7 is met by queen e5 check. King d7 queen d6 changes nothing, while king f8 allows queen h8. White's queen must go back to the 8th rank, and we are back to the king unable to escape perpetual on the king side. No matter how white throws the punches, black's queen always has enough squares to check the king at all times, whether it is e5 g7 h8, or f6 g5 h4. Going back to king b7, many will believe that it is impossible for white to win, but this is just an illusion. In 3, 2, and 1, white unleashes the brilliant move king to f7. If black's queen tries to check again, the placement of white's rook makes all the difference. Even though it is on the verge of death by the enemy pawn, black cannot capture because there will always be a queen trade that comes right after. Then, using the trebuchet tactic, white can force the win of the d6 with a winning pawn ending. Otherwise, the rook will successfully assist in helping the king escape perpetual, at last realizing white's material advantage. Defeated, black captures the rook after the brilliant king move. But this doesn't help at all because the rook immediately reincarnates on e8. The reason for this being after queen c7 check rook e7, black cannot move the king to the corner to declare the game a draw by stalemate after queen takes c7, because rook takes c7 isn't in black's script and will never be. Check or not, the queen cannot escape being eliminated along with the rook, resulting in a winning pawn endgame for white despite black getting the opposition, thanks to the chessboard being only 8 ranks high. This nearly unforeseeable perpetual and the rook sacrifices in this study is enough to beat out a 7-piece endgame, but what managed to beat this one for first place? Like and subscribe to find out in the next video on time tomorrow, because it is going to be an even more complex one for me to cover. Goodbye.